morning.
Good morning. Yes, so I love the home bot. And I think for me it's I guess getting past my thoughts of how to make the calls. Of course, if you get a new lead that, through your CRM or, just keep in contact with your past clients, just of the conversation of just what to say and not overthinking it.
Okay, so what do you feel like stops you up?
I think my mind, just overthinking, like not being 100% sure of what to say when I
Okay.
call,
Okay.
especially like leads, because my brokers, they'll give us leads, but they may they've been in the market maybe in 2001, but now it's 2003, and we're just keep in contact, and it just kind of cycles, and just wondering what to say to a person who, just came through the CRM.
Okay. So it depends. The answer is actually it depends. So
Okay.
so depending on how they come into your world, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to respond to each of them a little different because
Mm-hmm.
they're going to need something different. They're going to expect something different, need something different.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say they come through a CRM, I mean that's can you give me a specific example and then we can just be able to break that down?
Sure. So we use Lofty. It used to be called Chime.
Okay.
And you have your leads in there, and it's about 200 some odd leads, but it's like, okay, how do I start? It feels overwhelming just seeing them all, and knowing, okay, should I just send them an email, or should I just start calling,
Yes.
a certain
Okay. So
alphabet?
how long have they, so you log in, you have these leads.
Hmm.
Where have they come from? Have they clicked on something? Are they, do you know where they're coming from?
They're coming from like my broker. So, cause I think she pays for Zillow. And so she'll kind of send it that way.
Okay, so if they're coming from Zillow, that's a little different, but I would
Hmm.
ask your broker
Hmm.
specific questions about where is this lead coming from?
Hmm.
Okay, because there's different kinds of leads. We have the kinds of leads where it could be, let's say, a Zillow, and if that
And if
very
that very
um the Zillow lead like clicks on the button that says, I want help, I have a question, and then maybe you get that lead, right? Well, that's
Hmm.
different because then they're maybe calling on a specific house,
Hmm.
and it's more time, what's the word? Important. It's not really the phrase
Hmm.
I would use, but you have to respond to them more quickly because they're asking a question right now. If you don't answer quickly, they will go click on somebody else and they'll get their answer somewhere else. And then it's a dead lead
Hmm.
at that point.
Right.
Now,
Right.
then there's the recycled leads. We love the recycled leads. So recycled leads are ones that have been in the system, maybe didn't get responded to, maybe the
Hmm.
note.
Maybe the note.
Oh, I don't know why I get. I'm going to mute you for just a second because I'm getting feedback. Um, anyway, but maybe like the notes didn't get updated or like whatever it is. So then that gets thrown back into the lead generation company system. And then that gets kicked back out. And that may be the 200 leads that you have there. So they're probably not asking for something specific at this very second. So it's more going to be like an investigation. So then you're going to look at the lead and you're going to say, okay, like I'm going to call or email this person, whatever that looks like. Try both ways, see how you get a response, see what works. But call and then you're going to ask them, hey, like are you at some point, I don't know, come up with where they came from, right? Like I received your information, you had questions about real estate. Like, how can I help you? And it doesn't have to be something fancy. Literally, you guys, any phone call that I get, anytime somebody calls me, anytime I get a lead, anytime something comes in, even when I used to get my Zillow leads, I did those for a while, like 6 years ago. I would answer the phone and they'd say, hey, this is so and so, whatever. And I said, great, how can I help you? Like, I literally do not give them some like spiel about how I'm this great realtor and, do you want to buy or sell a house? Like, I'm not going to predetermine why they're calling me. I literally give them the floor and let them just decide how they want to tell me what's going on in their life. And sometimes that's actually the words I use too. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, what I mean, it's very easy for them then to open up and start to tell you what's going on with their scenario in their life. And then they'll be like, I didn't mean to click on that. And so then you're like, great, like knock them off the list. Right. But then the person that raises their hand and says, yeah, I was clicking around online and I'm like, we're thinking about buying, but we're not exactly sure. And then you just prompt them like, okay, tell me more about that. Like it really is so much more about them. And I think when you get stuck, it's becoming about you. Because you said, like, what am I going to say to them? Right? How am I, what kind of value am I going to provide? What kind of information do I need to have? You don't need to have any information yet because you don't know what they want. You can go ahead and unmute now. Sorry, it was kicking feedback for some reason. Go ahead and unmute. We'll try it again.
Yes, that helps as far as those. And as far as the home bot, because it's past clients,
Yep.
past closings. So I guess I should, oh no.
You're still there. I see you.
Oh, okay, it went away. I don't know, something crazy just happened. I guess I should just be calling them to check in and say, hey, I saw that you opened up the software that I set you up on. How do you like it? Or something like that.
Yeah, just even something as simple as like, do you have any questions about your home value? Are you enjoying the email I send you every month?
Mm-hmm.
Just that, because they don't need to know. So people with that program, they literally think that, I mean, I'm sure they don't think I'm sending it to them necessarily, but when I get comments back from my clients, I got one yesterday actually, and they were like, thank you for sending us our home value every month. And I'm like, sure thing. Like, so happy, right? So yeah, just like ask them if they have any questions. You don't, so here's the thing. I don't think I would acknowledge that they've opened it. You don't want to be like, you opened your emails 8 times, because that starts to get stalker crazy. So we don't need to acknowledge they've opened it. We're just contacting them because we know that they opened it. So then it's, they're opening it. So that's your guide for who to follow up with, because the people that are most engaged with the program and checking their value most often, then just send them an email. Like, hey, just checking to see, do you love the email that I send you every month? And do you have any questions? So with any sort of follow-up, it's really good for you to just prompt them to tell you what's going on. And then you can find out how you can help them at that point. So good question. And do it. If they're checking something is going on in their life. Yeah, I mean, so, yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, good point. Sometimes you just have really curious people. Sometimes you have people just love to open their email and check their value. But I've had 2 phone calls already this week from past clients of mine that I have not talked to. Gosh, one of them I sold their house 3 years ago. I haven't seen or talked to them since, but they're always on my mailing list, right? They always get my goodies from me, and then they always get my email. And she messaged me and it's like, it's time to move. When can you put my house up for sale? Very easy conversation. So when I teach agents to build a business, you guys, follow-up is like 50% of your game. Because if we don't have good follow-up, 50% of it is how are we performing inside the transaction? How are we treating them? How are we showing up? What kind of value are we providing? How smooth is the transaction for them? Like, how do we treat them, communicate, all that stuff, right? So that's like everything that you're doing in your job. The other 50% is how do we follow up with them? Because if we follow up with value, not a magazine, if we follow up with value, they come back to you. Like you're in front of them, they remember you. And because you did such a stellar job the first time, and then you're always reminding them that you are alive, right? That they can come back to you, then it's an easy sell. And then the really awesome thing is the easy sell part about it is I didn't do a CMA. So both of these 2 people that called me this week, they just said, hey, life's changing. And I'm like, great, tell me what's going on. And then they tell me their life story about what's going on. And I said, okay, I'll grab a price on your house. I already know their house. I sold it to them. So then I just go pull comps on their house, give them a call back and say, this is what we're looking at for price. What do you think? And they're like, great, Lisa, sounds good. And then I wrote up the paperwork. This was literally last night, 7:00 p.m. Wrote up the paperwork, sent it over for them to sign. Listing docs are done. Photos are scheduled for today. Throw the sign in the yard. We'll be up for sale tomorrow. That's the process, right? I do not ask for referrals ever. I have never once in my life put it in my email. I've never once asked a person to send me a referral, because the thing is, if you have to ask, you didn't do your job good enough. If you have to ask, it's like asking someone, like, do you like me? It's like, if you have to ask, if you're questioning that, then there's a problem. If you're not doing your job well enough. My clients, when I serve my clients are like, Lisa's the freaking bomb and you have to use her. That's what my clients say to their friends. That's why the referrals come in. I don't ask for them. Okay. All right. Awesome. Sorry, I was like, thanks for coming to my TED Talk there. I get a little passionate about how we serve our clients. But it's awesome, because then you just have the business flowing in and you can't stop the business at that point. So that's how we build. And then we're never looking for leads at that point. I don't look for leads. They just call 2-3 times a week. All right. Who else wants to ask a coach a question?
Hi, Lisa.
Hello there, Zoom user.
I'm so sorry. My camera's not working this morning.
I'm just joking with you, just because that's what your name says, Zoom user. Okay, what do you got for me? Tell me your name.
Oh, okay. So my name is Marsha.
Hello, Marsha.
I actually joined one of your sessions the other day for lead generations, which I absolutely loved.
Awesome.
I have been in the brokerage since May of this year. And I briefly told you that I sold 2 homes, just struggling a lot. So I have actually 2 questions.
Okay.
First question would be, which she just brought up a good point about her broker giving leads. Do brokers normally give leads or no? Because my broker hasn't really told me anything about any leads other than, hey, you get leads from floor time or divert time. And that's it.
Okay. So, it's broker by broker. It depends on the brokerage. It depends on their system. It depends on how they have them set up. So, I think, you want my opinion?
They just don't want to give them.
No, that's not actually it. That's not actually it. So I've actually got a broker who I train, and their brokerage, and she does provide leads, but here's what happens. Leads can slow down. Okay. Like the lead systems, even like, say you pay for Zillow and the market goes down, or there's not a lot of inventory, the lead count starts to go down. Okay. And then a bunch of people jump ship off Zillow. So it fluctuates. So if you join a brokerage and you're like, here, solve all my world's, and I know you're not saying this, but when we join a brokerage and we're like, here, broker, you need to provide leads for me because that's going to solve my problem. That actually does not teach an agent to be able to stand on their own 2 feet.
No, I get it. I completely get it.
So it's like good and supplemental, but honestly, like my broker gives me nothing. And I do think that taught me to be very tenacious and to teach me how to figure it out. Because if he had just given me leads, I wouldn't understand how to go out and find my own business.
No, exactly. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just struggling because like I never actually, I mean, they put you through like ninja selling sessions and stuff like that you have to pay for. I purchased the book, however, but I just feel like there's not much mentoring. You ask questions and you don't get direct answers. And I'm just like, okay, well, how am I supposed to learn? So I literally sat down with somebody yesterday and was like, okay, listen, I've taken this class. I even brought up like that prospecting. And I really, really love that idea that you offered. And she just basically shut that down and was like, oh no, you'll get in trouble if you do that. And I'm just like, okay, then what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I'm so out in the dark with some of the things and I'm really trying, but then that's where I get frustrated and I have to just revert back. Like, you have to stay positive because if you don't, this is not going to be working for you.
Right. So when I think about brokerages, they're like, I mean, we hang our license at a brokerage. That's really what we're doing, but we're all independent contractors. And one of the reasons why I created the training that I did is because there's so many agents, so many, right? Where you don't have the mentorship, or they attempt to have the mentorship, but you're getting mentored by somebody else in the office. Do you really think that somebody else in the office is going to share all of their secrets with you?
Absolutely not.
They're not. Like, we're
Mhm.
competition, right? And I'll tell you, even within my training program, I don't generally allow people that are in my area in Boise, where I'm in Boise, Idaho.
Mhm.
I don't generally allow them in my program unless they want to be in our brokerage. Because
Okay. I mean, that
I
makes
don't
sense.
train but I don't train my competition,
Right. No,
right?
that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Well, so
And
the
that's
same
kind of
thing
what my husband
happens.
said too.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happens inside our brokerage. It's like, well, they're going to give you enough information, but not too
Not
much
a-
so that you pass them by, so that you take all the business, because they look at you as competition.
Right. So I'm kind of limited to now, even like what I want to say, because if I give them ideas, how do I know they're not taking my ideas? You know what I mean?
So it starts to become like a scarcity mindset, and then it's not always helpful. So there are some brokerages who don't function that way, but there's a lot of people who do, and especially
Mhm.
right now when the market's declined a little
Mhm.
bit, so the volume is lower, so everybody's kind of fighting for whatever they can get. Then you
Gotcha.
start a lot of that too. So I guess what I would just say is, it's not uncommon. There's nothing really that's wrong with the
Okay.
situation that you're in, and brokerage hopping doesn't always solve your problem.
No, and I love where I'm at. I do. Don't get me wrong, I do.
So if
I
it's
just
positive,
I just yeah, I just have to think positive and just, take in what you have taught me and just go with that and stick with it because I haven't had a plan. So with that being said, you talked about needle moving. And I know it was kind of hard to like really pinpoint, how many hours in a day I should spend on each project because I mean, I don't know, because everyone's going to be different. But in a week, what would your guess be? Like how many hours a week should I be working as a newer agent?
so are you a full-time?
Yes.
Okay, so you're full-time, so 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the thing that you do. Here's where you kind of like find the balance. I do the needle moving activities until something starts to happen.
Okay.
And then I start to replace. So it's like, say you're doing all the needle moving activities, like, what people would call it prospecting, I guess, whatever. I don't know. I'm like just working, right?
Mhm.
Trying to find business, doing everything that you can. So do the needle moving activities, and I do those until I start to get responses. As you start to get responses, you're showing houses, you're doing listing appointments, and then that starts to fill up your time. And then all of a sudden your balance starts to shift. Where
Mhm.
now where you are maybe, prospecting or 40 hours a week, now you're like, but I'm showing houses 20 hours a week, or like other activities, because you have clients that you're working with.
Okay.
We still want to spend the other 20 hours a week prospecting while we're doing the 20 hours taking care of clients, so we can continue to fill the pipeline.
Gotcha.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And a lot of times, what I see with agents too, it's like we get excited, which is perfectly fine. But we're like, I got one. Like, yes, right? They said yes, then I'm going to go show houses. And then we get so wrapped up in that, or taking care of 2 or 3 people, that we start to lax on the prospecting and doing those high impact lead generating activities. And then we're working with a few people, and then they close, and then we panic because our pipeline is not full.
Okay.
We have to have that balance where we're still doing both until the point where you've built your business well enough that you're working with people and people are calling you, and you're just continuing to feed more people into, you're spending more hours just taking care of the people, not trying
Okay.
to find them.
That makes sense. I have one more really quick question, then I'm finished. I'll let
Sure.
somebody else move on.
Good question.
So they said, obviously, your first year is going to be awful, which I completely understand. But then when I sat down with them the other day, they're like, oh no, your first 3 years are going to be terrible.
Okay.
So
I made
I just,
$130,000 my first year, and my goal
Mhm.
was $15,000. Your first year does not have to be terrible.
Okay.
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 So that's their mindset. That is not your mindset.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So what could be possible is what I would say to you. Like, what do you think is possible for you?
like I can do this. I mean, it's possible. Like I'm not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs daily. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but maybe not like completing what I really should be doing. Some of the things weren't working for me and I was stuck on those, but now you've made it clear that I need to move on to something else. So I'm sticking at that goal and I'm going to make it possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You just keep moving and you keep
Mhm.
trying to keep doing until you find the thing that's working for you.
yes.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be terrible. And like, I was thinking about this morning. Actually, yesterday I was getting massage. I was talking to my lady who was getting massage, and I had gone on a couple listing appointments this last week. Okay. And I actually didn't want the listings. It stick with me for just a hot second. So my goal has been to reduce my business because I'm putting more time and effort into coaching. So
Mhm.
selling 100+ houses a year and putting all the effort needed into a coaching, like it's not the right balance for me. And so I literally am trying to reduce my business. Well, I get a phone call from a builder and he was referred to me and he wants to meet with me. He's got 4 subdivisions and I'm like, okay, I'll meet with you. So I go, I spend 4 hours of my day, drive out, meet with him, see his houses. I sell myself. Okay. I spent about an hour and a half in front of him. I sell myself, tell him all the things I can do for him, what great value I provide, how things work, how I can help him with his systems, processes, right? I go through the whole thing, pitch myself, and they're like, great, can we hire you? Would you just work for us? And I was like, well, no, I still have other clients I service, but like I can help you, right? Yeah. And they're like, okay, great. Like we want you, right? I get in my car and I start driving home and I was like, what am I doing? I do not want the business. And I know that sounds like a little out of sorts for people who are like, oh my gosh, I want business.
Well, it takes away from your family. I get it.
Well, it's not my family. It's my desire for my shift. It's my desire
Mhm.
for coaching is what it is. But
Mhm.
here's the interesting thing that I realized. Because that same week I received another phone call from another builder who had $2 million worth of properties to sell. And he was asking my opinion and kind of telling me that he might hire this other person. And of course, I go into like competitive mode. And then I tell him all the reasons why he should hire me and not the other person. And then a few days later, he sends me a message and he says, okay, I'm going to send you this listing. So I have a $2.2 million listing I'm working on putting up. Okay. After I got done with that conversation, I was like, what are you doing, Lisa? Like, it's almost like I can't stop myself. Okay, that was
Yeah.
my point. I can't stop myself. And then I thought, why can't I stop myself? Because my goal is not to sell more houses and it's not to make more money selling houses. That's not my goal. So why can't I shut my freaking mouth and stop selling myself? And really what I realized, and this is something for you guys to really understand and learn, is when I go in to pitch myself, I'm actually not wondering, am I going to get rejected? What kind of value am I providing? I am going in and my challenge to myself is really, can I get them to use me? Can I get them to say yes? That's the way that I look at things. So, and I can't stop myself from being like, oh, I'm going to test this out. I'm just curious. Could I sell this person this thing? Like, is it possible? And then I go forth with that type of mindset. So when you're going to go out and prospect, or you're going to, like Kizzy, right? You're going to go out and you're going to call all the leads that you have on your list. If you take the mindset a little bit more of, I wonder if I could get them to work with me. I wonder if that's possible. Let's just see what's possible. It starts to remove the worry. It starts to remove like the wonder of what if I do it wrong? What if I don't have the right information? Because it doesn't matter, right? It's just, I'm just curious. Can I convert them? And then you're going to work hard. Your brain is going to go to work to accomplish that thing, right? Like that's my problem. My brain's always at work. Like, how can I do this? How can I get them? Like, what do I provide that's different than somebody else? And then I pitch that. So when you're going to go out and you're going to go prospect or whatever activities you're doing, right? Just tweak it just a little bit. And it's like, well, what if? Like, what if I could call this builder and I could get this builder to give me his future business. What if that's possible? Then that's the phone call that you make.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Like, and you know what? What if I can push everybody else out of the way and I can win? What if I can be better than the other person that's pitching themselves? What if? That's how you can make it an amazing first year, an amazing second year, an amazing third year, because you're not worried about what everybody else is doing and you're not self-conscious about what you're doing.
Okay.
You're just working from like a curious mindset. Like, what if this would work? What if they would work with me? And what do I need to do? What do I need to prepare in order to pitch? I mean, there's all that too, but anyway, does that help at all?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And go get it and have a freaking amazing first year. And yeah, if you
Thank
need a coach, somebody's putting in the chat, like get a coach, yeah, join the program. That's what I teach you, is to push everybody else out of the way. That's what we learn inside the academy. Awesome. Okay, who else has a good question today? Those good questions. Lots of very good questions.
I heard her say, I wrote it actually in the chat. Prospecting. What is that?
Oh, you know what? I don't know that I said that. So yep. So she might need to clarify that because I do not know.
Because I was just curious. Yeah.
I do not know. I do not door knock. So Alvina. Okay. So do you want to unmute for a second and we can chat about that for a second?
Yes, hi.
Okay. Hi. So tell me why you would be door knocking. Why, where, what's the purpose?
I think mostly because when you're kind of hosting like open houses, which is I guess would be the other way of getting potential business, it's people who are not really like ready to buy at this time, or even doing ads, people don't really know who you are, so that way you're face to face with them is kind of what I would get from it. But I know that there's better ways of getting business.
Yeah. Do you want to door knock?
No, absolutely not.
Then don't do it.
What
So
would you recommend to be the way now in this market, because it's so slow and challenging to get
Yeah.
business?
So what do you like to do? What is your like circle? What does your life look like? What does your area look like? What's the need?
I'm in South Florida, so we have like beautiful weather. So I guess
Who's moving to South Florida? Who's moving from it around? Like what does your demographic look like?
New York, California, international buyers.
Okay.
But
Okay.
my budget is kind of small, right, as well. So it's like I don't, I'm trying to find something organically. So
Yeah. Okay. So what have you tried?
I've tried open houses, running it for other agents, and for me, that really didn't work. It was just kind of a waste of time.
Tell me why it was a
What
waste.
else?
Tell me why it was a waste of time.
Because the buyers they came in, they weren't interested in that particular house. And they kind of disappeared because they weren't looking to buy now. They were far out, like maybe 6 months to a year. We're just looking.
Okay.
And so you kind of just sit there in the house, you're waiting, and it's like they're gonna come, they're not gonna come,
Okay. So let's back you up for just
I think I'm losing my patience. So I
Okay.
and you have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what we want to happen, and here's what we're not having happen, which
Okay.
is we want someone to walk in the door. Our expectation is I'm going to do an open house. Somebody's going to walk in the door and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I love this house. Or, oh, would you help me buy another house?
Correct.
Okay. So that's an easy sell, right?
Yeah.
All right. Easy sales are easy. And they were easy for like 2 years.
Yeah.
When everybody was like, oh, the house, and the house is going to be gone. So I'll buy the house and I'll pay an extra $30,000 for the house. And that was so easy. All right. So in the old days, right, like when I started, an open house, so that specific client you just named comes in the house, looks at the home, doesn't like the home. What do?
I get onto my computer or my phone and I send them other options, and I
Okay.
email it to them, I text it to them, I give them my business card. If there's homes nearby that are open or in lockbox, I'm like, well, I can show you something that will be more of interest to you. And so we kind of walk over and I show them 2, 3 other options that are in the area, in the
Okay.
neighborhood. And then, you know, they're so happy, thank you so much. And then that's it. Like you follow up, you follow up, you follow up, and you know, they're just not ready. So I don't know why they're even there. So it's kind of like they're,
Okay, so they're not ready now, or you said they were ready in like 6 months, maybe?
yeah,
So
about,
what's
yeah.
your plan with them? Because that's still a living, breathing body. What is
Mhm.
what do you do with that person at that point? I'm going to just ask you some questions and I'll give you some answers in just a minute.
Of
But
course, I put them in the database. I put them on like a nurturing campaign or a drip campaign. So
what
the
does the
database.
drip campaign say?
So it's like KV Core, whatever campaign they have. I think it's like, you know, hey, following up, checking in, seeing how you're doing. If you
Okay.
need any help,
Okay.
whatever their templates
So
are.
it's like my
That's,
Allstate emails that I get. That's like,
uh-oh.
don't forget to close your vents for the year and don't forget to clean up your leaves. And I'm like, thank you, automated Allstate system, for sending me this email. I know it's
Yeah.
actually not my Allstate agent who's contacting me. That's what that is. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me simplify your life and I will teach you how to convert somebody at an open house. Okay.
Okay.
This works open house. This works in the grocery line. This works at Home Depot when you're talking to people. This works everywhere. So here's the thing. The name of the game is how many people can you get on a search? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is the name of the game. How many people can we put on a search? Because when we get people on an automated search, which most agents don't capitalize on, this free tool that's inside their MLS system,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get them on a search, because then you're sending them consistent homes over and over,
Yeah.
and you're in front of them. Okay.
Right.
Okay. But we can't really get to that point unless we have a lot more conversation. So what I do with agents or with clients, they come into the open house, they look at the house, and I'll ask them the questions like, what do you like? What do you don't like? And then they'll tell
Mm-hmm.
me, you know, what they like, what they don't like. And then I start to get a little more personal. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
where are you from? How many kids? Are you looking in a specific school district? Do you like this
Mm-hmm.
area? Are you looking for a different, like, do you need a bigger backyard? And I just play the 20 questions game
Yeah.
in a very natural way.
Yeah.
And then I give them my pitch. And my pitch sounds like, I can send you, and depending on what their status is, I can get you faster than Zillow, faster than anywhere online. I can get you what's new on the market direct to your inbox, like direct to your email. So if you
Mm-hmm.
like, I can be able to send you like the second something comes on the market, you're going to know about it. I'm going to know about it. We can get out, take a look at it. Like we can be on the ball, and then we can find the best deal that's out there. Like, would that work?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like that? And they're like, yeah, sign me up. Most of the time, they're like, sounds great, sign me up, because it's the way that I'm pitching it. Essentially, I'm positioning myself as I hold all the great information about what's going to come on the market, and I can get that to you so fast. And what I do is I put the clients on a search, I copy
Mm-hmm.
myself, I blind copy myself. So then as soon as they get emailed a property, I also get CC'd. So I watch my emails. This is what we
Okay.
do, okay? The Zoom user, now I can't remember your name too, like take note on this one. The second that you get that email, I check my emails. I see what's come up. If there's a good house that I'm like, yeah, for all the things that they told me, this really fits their criteria. This is in the area. It's got the things that they like. I send them a text message. I forward that listing and I send them from my MLS, and I send them a text and I just say, hey, did you see this one that came to your email? What do you think? This looks like it might be a good one that you would like. And then that prompts them to respond back to me. That's the only kind of communication that I have with any of my potential buyers. I do not put them on another drip. They do not get automated emails from me. The goal is get the client on a search. Even if they want to buy in 6 months or a year, you're the go-to because you're the one in their inbox with what they really want, which is houses. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then the name of the game is get out there and meet more people, do more open houses, get more people on a search. You're filling your pipeline. And then the people start to shake out. So that person that you're like, they're not going to do anything. Yeah, they might not do anything for a year. They might not do something for 2 years. But if you have 75 people on searches, you're going to start to have more people shake out.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I've had clients that I've met, even this even goes with like Kizzy, like if you've got your people that you're doing follow-up with and they're like, I'm not ready to buy for 6 months. I would say, great. Would you like to keep an eye on what's on the market? I can email you once a day, or I can email you once a week, and I can just send you what's out there. And the awesome thing is you can, delete garbage, the ones that you don't like, and you can save or favorite the ones that you do like. And if you do want to go shopping, everything you've got on your favorites list, I've got your shopping list. So it makes it so easy. And I'm like positioning myself as like, you guys, I'm going to make this search for you so much more enjoyable from the get-go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had people who a year after I put them on a search, I've never called them. I've never followed up even with a text. I've had people many times that have done this, and they've just been on the search because they were like a long ways out. And literally a year later, I get a text message or a phone call that says, hey, the house that you just sent me, we're interested in that one. Could you go take a look at it for us? These happen to be out-of-state clients, this example. And I was like, yeah, great. So we did a FaceTime walkthrough and they said, yep, we love it. We want to put an offer. Okay, let's finish up your qualification again, because it's a year later, and write the offer, and wham, bam. And then, everything else happens. So that's somebody who I just put on a search a year prior.
Yeah.
Right. So we're looking for fast wins. So if you want fast wins, go get my high impact lead generation, and you can do some of those things that help you get faster wins. Or if you really want a faster win, go call a for sale by owner. They need to sell their house. That's a fast win.
So what do you do for seller leads? You just call the expires and for sale by owners, or you have another strategy?
I literally would do that all day long until I ran out of them, because they want to sell. So I wouldn't go send, this is just me. You guys can all say I'm doing it wrong if you want, but that person has raised their hand and said, I want to sell my house. Why wouldn't I call and try to help them?
Yeah.
Right. So if they want my help, like my first 3 listings were all for sale by owners. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had a really crappy proposition because I didn't know what I was doing, but I sold it, and I put all 3 of those signs in the ground. The more signs you get in the ground, you can do your own open houses. You also get phone calls off the signs, phone calls online. You start to compound your business.
Okay.
So a sign in the ground, to me, that's marketing, because the other thing is the more signs in the ground, let's say that you want to hit a certain area, like focus on a certain area, get as many people to sell, like, they say for sale by owners, expireds, like hit that area. You put 4 or 5 signs up in one immediate area, one of the neighbors that is like, oh, I want to sell my house, this person's the bomb, I saw her signs everywhere. And then they're more likely to call you. That's branding. That's something you can't control, but it works. There's some other tricks. I mean, I got all sorts of little tricks that I use that don't cost money. Right.
Okay. Can you share some of that, please?
Okay, I'll give you one more. And then we might go to another person. But okay, so for example, if I do have a property that's up for sale and I get it pending, right? I legit, like, quickly, we get out there, stick a pending sign on it very fast. Okay, that shows the neighbors that house went pending, because everybody doesn't look online. They just see the sign as they drive by. What most agents do is they never put a pending sign on a property most of the time. Yeah, so the neighbors think it's never sold. The sign goes up, the sign sits there, the sign comes down. They don't know any different, do they?
No.
People are dumb.
Yeah.
Really dumb. Okay. So I had a $400,000 listing, which at the time was a high price point for me, in an area that I don't even dominate. This was totally different city. $400,000 listing. I had that thing sold, and this was not in the fast time frame, but like this was not the fast market. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. Anyway, I had that thing under contract within a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Ran out, put the pending sign up that day that we went under contract. 2 days later, I get a phone call from the neighbor. And the neighbor says, "We want you to list our house." And I was like, "Oh," and then I say, "Why do you call me?" He said, "Because we saw how well like you sold the house next door." And then I picked up that listing. Since then, that specific client has sent me her daughter, and she's bought and sold 3 other properties. So I've probably made $100,000 off that one client because I put a pending sign on my listing.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't know. That's wonderful to do.
Yeah. So
It's such a small little thing, but we don't do it.
we don't do it. We don't do it, but we're always looking for leads, right? But there's like little tricks to the trade. And this is why I don't train people in my area, except for my own agents, because I don't.
Where are you?
Tricks.
Which
I'm
state?
in Idaho.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm in
outside.
Florida.
Oh, yeah. I would love to be in Florida because it's going to snow tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so small little tricks, nuances, that's the kind of stuff that I did and I teach because I didn't have money. I didn't want a door knock. That wasn't even a thing for me anyway. And
Yeah.
I didn't mail anyone anything. So I literally was like, how do I get to the people? How do I talk to the people? What does the conversation look like? How do I get them to work with me? And I've just continued that same pattern over and over again. And that's, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm about $500,000 in commission this year so far.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So still keeps going. And that's me trying to sell less properties, by the way. And people won't quit calling. So anyway, good questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Go get it. All right. Go ahead, Kizzy.
So I have my first big deal property. It was a 1.399 house.
Okay.
And we went under contract. I actually met them at a broker's tour, so don't despise meeting clients there because nobody else talked to them. And I talked to everybody that I meet. And they were standing by themselves, looking out the window. I was like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" Just conversating with them. And I was like, "Are you working with the realtor?" And it was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, well, here's my card. Love to help you." And they pursued me at the broker's store. I went out, got me some food, sat on the balcony, enjoyed the water. And they were like, "Hey, can we talk with you more?" Yada yada yada. I was like, "Well, sure. Let's meet at my office." And they followed me to the office. And they end up signing the contract on that house, long story short. So don't despise your open houses. Just want to encourage you with that.
Yeah.
So I was wondering now that I do have my first really big sale, and I've been wanting to get in that subdivision because it's a gated subdivision, got to go through a crossing guard, so anybody can't go selling in that neighborhood. And I was wondering how can I capitalize now that I am a new agent, in that neighborhood that I just sold a house, and then like, what should I send out newsletters or something like that saying, "Hey, I sold this house. I don't want to be cheesy about it, but I do want them to know who I am."
Right. Okay. I don't know why I always get feedback there. Okay. So what kind of value do you think you could provide to everybody else in the neighborhood? Because the what you don't want to do is just mail out a letter that says, "Hey, I'm your neighborhood realtor and I sold this house. Everybody clap for me," right?
Right.
What value can you provide to the other people in the neighborhood?
I can also provide the value by listing their houses and getting them top dollar for it and
That's not
negotiating.
value, that's service.
Okay.
What value up front can you provide to them? Like, so here's
a home evaluation.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah, so that's value. You can
Okay.
ask them if they want to get on, like if they want their automated valuation every month. You can provide, is there some good information or data or statistics about the subdivision and the values you could provide? Like if you're in a 1 point whatever, $1 million subdivision that's a gated community, you got a little bit fancier people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so we're gonna have to beef up our data a little bit. What kind of data can you provide that would be interesting to them? What would make them open your letter? What would make them want to read it and go, "Wow, this person knows what she's talking about"?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, well, that's something you're gonna have to think about because I don't know that area.
Okay.
Okay, but that's
It's
the
waterfront property. Again, $1 million homes. Just a different.
what would I want to know about my house if I lived in that subdivision? What would I want to know about the area? What would I want to know about the market
Mhm.
if I was a homeowner in that area? How fast are houses selling?
Mhm.
What are the prices doing? What's the
Yeah.
market? And maybe everybody, like, maybe they're seeing in, like, what are they seeing in the news? What are they seeing in the local news? Is the market going down? Is it going up? Let's say, I'm just going to give you an example, right? Say the market generally is going down, but that subdivision holds their values really well.
Mhm.
Okay, that would be great information to tell people. Hey, you may have seen in the news that the values are going down, but the great news is, like, your area, your subdivision holds value really well. So we're not seeing the same decline. I just sold this property nearby and our appraisals, supported that or something like that. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
yeah, okay. We're trying to give them some sort of valuable information, and instead of a blanket statement of like, I'm the neighborhood realtor and I sold this thing, because the reason why you converted that client to work with you,
Mhm.
yeah, is because you probably provided some great information. You were also willing to have a conversation like a normal person. You paid some attention to them and you made them feel really good.
Yeah.
So they hunted you down because
Yeah.
of the way you made them feel. They're like, wow, if she's this nice to us, like, we would love to work with her.
Mhm.
Okay, so how do we make the people feel? If you're going to do a marketing piece, how can you make them feel comfortable, confident? And not just in you, but in themselves or in their properties or their values. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so go to work on that. And then, yeah, then market to the subdivision. Send something of value to the subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also go back and look to see, has anyone else tried to sell in the last 12 months, 2 years, 3 years? And then you could assess why they didn't sell, if it was an expired listing, why it didn't sell, maybe how the agent did a crappy job, what you could do better. And you could provide some information to those people specifically if you want to market that area. These are the kind of activities that I spend my time doing, because to me they're more purposeful than randomly knocking on doors and hoping someone will want to sell their house. I don't know. Somebody knocked on my door one year. I think that's when that did that to me. I'm like, why are you freaking knocking on my door and asking me if I want to move? Creep. Like, no, get away, right? Because there was no personal connection there. So I like to make personal connections. That's just the way I do my business, though, is through personal connections. I'm sure you can make a personal connection knocking on a door, but I would usually make a personal connection by raking someone's leaves than I would to just go randomly knock on their door because I'm kind of asking them for something. I'd rather go give service, meet people that way, them get to know me, then they end up calling me. Just the way I do my business. Good questions. Okay. Anybody else? We got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I wanna ask a question.
Okay.
So, and I mentioned this yesterday, but so again, I am a new agent, and then I also still have a job. So, I'm really trying to move as fast as I can, but my time is limited. So I created a lot of leads accounts, and I haven't received any. So then I was thinking, well, maybe I need to pay, if you pick one of those where you pay ahead for leads. So I got in touch with several of them, and the one that I feel that, what they offer is like I like what they offer the best, but I wanted to ask your opinion is offers, right? The name of these offers, and they use Facebook they create ads. And then they told me that, for example, they gave me numbers. it's you give them 10 zip codes, and they told me how many agents they have in each of the zip codes. So in most of the cases, the zip codes that I gave them have 0 agents, or some of them have 1 or 2, but most of them have 0. So that I feel that that's great. So that's what I was planning to do, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and ask. Maybe they have a better idea than.
Okay.
And I'm doing the other things that you know, like creating TikTok ads, and like I'm trying to do a bunch of things, but I feel that that will be the thing that will allow me to start moving, right? And then I can keep doing the rest.
Okay. So when it comes to leads companies, you guys, I've tested about all of them.
Uh-huh.
There's different types of leads companies. So if you take, let's say, like Ojo, which is a pay on the back end, which you wouldn't qualify for because you're new. But if you take them, or you take, say, Zillow, but you have to pay them up front, right? They get their leads because they have their home search. People click on a home and they want information about the home. Okay. So that is a better lead. If I was going to categorize the lead quality, that's a high lead quality that's coming in. The Facebook ads is going to be your lower lead quality. Okay. You get, let's say, and I don't know like where Kizzy's leads are coming from, if she's got 200, that's the quantity versus quality is that type of lead. And if they're just running Facebook ads, you can run your own Facebook ads. I wouldn't pay someone else to run Facebook ads for me. You can create your own landing page and you can run your own Facebook ads and you can control it, because literally what most of those companies do is they put up a very general like post or ad. They're not exciting. So usually you get bots and misclicks, and it's literally a freaking waste of time. Then you're going to get frustrated because you're following up with a bunch of really junky leads. Okay. So if you're going to spend your time, like you probably don't have time to do an open house, or if you can do an open house on a Saturday, that gets you talking to people. Okay. Start to do that. So you have an ability, like you have the opportunity to start to talk to people and feel that out, try to convert them. Like if this was me and I had limited time like you do, I would do that. I would, on a Saturday, you can call a for sale by owner. And you have, because you're part of the academy, you have training on how to approach that. Okay, call them. Yeah, call them. Call an expired. If you find an expired, you just have to prep before you call them.
Okay.
So you're providing value.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I would do that all day long before I would ever start to pay for ads. Yeah. Ads just seems like it would work, and it's like, it's really simple, and it's actually a lot of work. So, and if you want to run ads yourself, Julia, let me know. We've got training on running ads, so I can get that to you. Last year at conference, at Equip conference, we held it in Boise, Idaho. I had my Facebook ad specialist come, and so she taught us how to better run an ad, all the parts and pieces you need. And then we've got some bonus trainings and stuff. So that's all available recorded with my last year's Equip. So I can grant that to you. This year at Equip, it's going to be April 15th and 16th. I've actually got a Google Ads specialist. He is one of the world's leading Google Ads specialists, used to work for Google, ran millions of dollars worth of ads every single month. He is coming to teach and train you how to run ads. So he is specifically creating a package for us that you get to take home with you, with all the settings, everything that you need, so you can run your own Google ads, which is, I believe, less expensive than running your Facebook ads right now, because Facebook is a pretty tough marketplace. And so we're going to teach you how to run Google ads. So that's coming up at Equip. Watch your emails for that. And then I can post a link. I'll post links everywhere. On my Facebook, you can go, or on your Instagram, you can go to be able to get access to get a ticket. And right now we have early bird pricing. So it's $149 for a ticket. And you're going to get 2 days worth of amazing training, including the Google ads. So it's freaking awesome. It's in Boise, Idaho, and yeah, limited seating. So I will put that up, or if you go to agentleader.com, just scroll about halfway down the page and you're going to find Equip. and you can click on that and get a little more information and see who all the speakers are and get into the conference. So my conferences aren't just to pump you up and tell you how amazing you are, which you are amazing, and we will make you feel that way. But actually every speaker I have is coming to teach you how to create a podcast to be able to get leads, right? How to do Google ads to be able to get leads. They're teaching you tactical things that you take home. You get a workbook with all the information so that when you walk away, you have stuff that can help improve your business. You're not just coming to a conference to try to like pump you up to be like, yeah, we know you can do it, which is great. And we love that part too. But I'm giving you the tactics, more tactics about how to do it. We also have what else do we have? We have sales coaching. So I have an executive sales coach who's coming, and she's teaching objections, like 2 hours. We're working on objections so that you can be able to better sell. So anyway, we're leveling up your skills. So that's going to be the Equip, Prepare for Purpose. If you just go to theagentleader.com, you can get a ticket to that. And thanks for being here today, you guys. I appreciate it. And all the questions were amazing. And I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful week. Where are you at in your real estate business, people? What's going on for you? Are you having some struggles finding consistency in the crazy market that we're having right now? Are you maybe wondering what's the next best thing for you to be able to do? Well, I have a solution for you. You can actually come to Ask a Coach and ask those questions to find out what your next best step is. Because the thing is, your next best step is not the same best step for the other person, right? The other person in your office. What we need to do is dive in to discover what you love, what your skills are, what your market around you is like, and how you can be able to capitalize on that so that you can be able to make more sales, because that's the goal, right? So come to Ask a Coach, click the link below, and I will see you with your questions at Ask a Coach, and come get coached for free.